This presentation is on patient advocacy and policy making by Shannon Dorchek for Nurse 321. Patient advocacy. As a nurse, the most important part of our job is delivering quality care. Not only is being knowledgeable on pharmacology, disease processes, and interventions important, it is also significant to know how to be a patient advocate. A nurse must be proficient in helping patients make knowledgeable decisions regarding their health. A nurse must know how to translate medical jargon, navigate complex disease processes, and make appropriate decisions. We as nurses must realize that we have the most interaction with the patient than any other healthcare provider, and we're in the perfect position to serve as their advocate. Finkelman states, advocacy means that the nurse is active in respecting the patient and patient's rights and ensuring that the patient has the education to understand treatment and care needs. Support is always given to the patient and the family members no matter what decision is made. When the patient makes a treatment decision, the nurse does not judge the patient's decision, even though the nurse may disagree with that decision. There are many ways that we as nurses can advocate for our patients. We have to remember we're the eyes and the ears of the patient. We're the communicators, the educators, the interpreters, and the caregivers. The nursing profession entails filling multiple roles as the provider with quality care. First, we can advocate for our patients by helping them make informed decisions. When we have an alert and oriented patient, we're given the opportunity to ensure that the patient fully comprehends any tests and procedures that the physician wants to do. We can remain at their bedside throughout their plan of care and educate them on what they think is necessary, and we can talk to them about lab work, test results, or any further testing. We also can be an advocate by making our patient our priority. We can, advocating is about standing up for the rights of your patient and firmly defending them, even if we personally don't agree with the decision they're making. We can also assist them with freedom from suffering. If we have a patient who's terminally ill, we know that we have to maintain our patient's best interest. At this point, we're probably dealing more with their family or friends. An example would be if your patient wanted to be comfort measures only in their end-of-life care. Sometimes the power of attorney or their living will make a decision to do additional medical intervention. That intervention can prolong their life, but it may not improve the quality of life of the patient. Regardless of the request made by family, the nurse has a duty to facilitate the patient's wishes. Another resource that is huge is, or another way to advocate is being the resource for the patient and their family. We are in a position where we can put consults in for dietary if we have a newly diagnosed diabetic. We can go further assist, with nephrology. If they're a newly diagnosed dialysis patient, we can educate them on ports or things like that. Now we are going to talk about policy making. The definition of policy is a course of action that affects many people and is inspired by a specific need to achieve a certain outcome. Policies are put into effect in healthcare to maintain health and safety for patients. As direct caregivers, we spend more time with our patients than any other healthcare provider. So policy decision makers really get their ideas from the the healthcare workers that work at the bedside. Decreasing falls, we can, a new one that is at my facility that I work at is med scanning. So we now have a scanner and we scan our meds, which has greatly reduced any amount of med error. The process of a policy making is quite a few steps. Initially, you have to identify the problem. The problem must exist before a policy can be created. A next one is you need to create an agenda. You must strategize on solutions that will best fit the problem. brainstorming with your unit, your coworkers, the technicians, the clerical staff, just to form a solution. Then the policy making actually goes into effect. You have to formulate and adopt the actual policy, and it needs to be approved before the board or the managers. You also have to make sure you have the budget for this. We need to distinguish how much is going to be appropriated for the annual budget. Then we have implementation and evaluation, which I think kind of go hand in hand. You have to implement the process, and then you have to evaluate it. The evaluation is going to be something that goes on and on and on. You have to make sure that it is safe, and you can make any changes that you want in the evaluation. It's an ongoing term that you're just making sure that the goals are being obtained. Current example that is really near and dear to my heart, since I'm an emergency room nurse, is the new policy that's going into effect is the opioid epidemic. October 2018, the White House declared that the opioid epidemic is a national emergency. It's very scary. It's awesome that the state lawmakers are crafting policies to address this to the public. There's over 115 deaths per day just from overdoses. They're trying to get more states involved, but as of right now, there's 33 states that have enacted legislation related to opioid prescription limits. The ANA does have a lot to do with policymaking. They are very supportive to their nurses. There's approximately 4 million across the United States. According to the ANA, the nurse translates the consumer's voice into a policy, and legislation that address such issues of control of health access, regulation of health care, protection of the health consumer, and environmental justice. Nurses all over the world are continuously frustrated by policies, and I think a lot of institutions don't consult their nurses enough to make policies more of a bedside thing. Nurses are the ones that are hands-on with their patients, and they are going to have the best ideas. I think a lot of policies go into effect without consulting the actual nursing staff. Frustration in the jobs from new policies lead to negativity, bitterness, burnt out. If nurses just realize that the power that they have and just focus their energy and the positivity, there could be awesome changes in healthcare. While learning about all these policy and patient advocacy, it's really got my wheels turning on attending more meetings that are offered to the nursing staff to maybe put some ideas in my head that I think about when I'm working my 12-hour shifts. Nurses can definitely influence policy, and the ANA fully supports that. They're always letting nurses know that they can be politically active just by assuming a leadership position within the systems that they currently work in, and then something as simple as exercising the right to vote can really impact healthcare policy. This was a really interesting presentation to learn about. I hope that some things that I have said can really motivate one of you to get into policy making and really focus on patient safety and nurse safety. And that is it. Thank you.